Alright guys, today we are talking about how you're going to factor a trinomial. And just so you see an example of how you would factor a trinomial, I wanted to show you this one. Remember our steps. Our steps say you're going to multiply the first and last term. Remember, what you've been doing so far is that the first term is 1. I'm going to multiply 1 times 30, and that's going to give me 30. I want all the factors of this, that add or subtract, to give me this middle term. So let's say all the factors of 30 are 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, and 5 and 6. My calculator can help me do that. I'm going to pick the one out of this list that will add or subtract to give me 13. So the one that makes sense to me is 3 and 10. But the reason why I picked this one is because this right here also gives me 13. So I have to think about the signs, and when I think about the signs, remember in our steps we said this sign is the biggest number. The biggest number, in this case, if I pick these would be my biggest, and this one tells me if they're the same or opposite. Remember, if it's opposite, they are negative. Remember, if it's a plus, they're the same. So these would be opposite of each other. So I have a plus 3 and a plus 2 there. The only one of these that actually give me 13 are a negative 15 plus 2. Negative 10 plus 3 gives me 7, and that's not right. So what I'm going to use is those two. So I'm going to use those two. I'm going to put them in here. I always put my biggest one first, and then I'm going to I'm going to split this S into 2, and then I'm going to look at these signs. Remember, this sign tells me the biggest one is negative and they are opposite, so I have a plus. Okay. Now on the one that we're going to look at now, you just talked about that, but now you're going to notice what's different. I think I changed this one. This one should be 5x squared minus 8x plus 3. Change that one. Now, this question here is different because unlike the one you just saw, it has a leading coefficient. But don't freak out because the term, like this number, is still the number in front. I'm going to follow the steps as they read. My first step says to take the first term and multiply it times the last term. Well, 5 times 3 gives me 15. And then I'm going to find all my factors of 15 that I know of. 15 would be 1 and 15, 3 and 5. Okay. I want all the factors here. Which one adds up or subtracts to give me 8? Has to be your 3 and your 5. So when I have that there, I'm going to put those in my factors, which is what we did before. I'm still going to put my biggest one there. I'm going to put my 3 there. This sign tells me what the biggest one is. The biggest one's 5. That's a minus. This sign tells me if they're the same or opposite. Well, that one is the same because it's plus. So it's going to be a minus. I'm going to erase that. Put the right thing. Put a minus right there. This term gets split. That's what's different. We're still going to split this. We're going to put an x and an x, but we have to split that 5 too. So I'm going to put a 5 here and a 5 here. Alright. The last thing we've split everything. The new thing that we're doing today is we're got to reduce. When I say reduce, we just got to make these like go into their smallest form. Think of it like a fraction. So I'm going to take out a 5 on this one because they both share a 5. Okay, so I'm just reducing. That's going to give me x minus 1 because the 5s will cancel, and then the 5 over 5 will give me 1. That's one of my factors. Okay, the reducing gave me my factor. Put it right there. This one, I got 5x minus 3. Those two don't have anything that can divide out. If nothing divides, that factor is done. I'm going to just put that in my answer, and I have my 2 factors. Now, just understand though that if I were to FOIL this, it would be my original answer, which is what we've been practicing. Okay. See a few more examples. So Number three. Number three, I got this 2r squared and this 14. I'm going to multiply my first and last term. First and last term gives me 28. I want the 2 times the 14 gives me that. So I'm going to make my factors of that. 1 and 28, 2 and 14, and 4 and 7. Those give me 28. I need the one of these that add or subtract to give me 3. So I look at that one, that doesn't add, this one doesn't add. 4 and 7 will add or subtract to give me 3. I can subtract them. So I'm going to use those two. Those are going to be my numbers for my factors. I'm going to put my 7 there and my 4 right there. Then I'm going to split this first term. I'm going to put that in the front. Now I'm getting out of order, but I'm okay. I'm going to put that right there. This sign tells me what the biggest number is. The biggest number is plus. The 7's the biggest. I'm going to put a plus right there. This sign tells me they're opposite. So if that's a plus, opposite would be a minus. I got two factors that are set up. Now I got to reduce. Anything that I can put in here, I can't really find. 2 and 7 are a prime. That one is done. I'm going to put that one up top. This one, though, you can divide out of 2. Because 2 goes into both of those. That will reduce down to r plus 1, or r minus 2. Just by dividing the 2 out gives you r minus 2, and you've got your factor. One more example. These have big numbers, so don't freak out just because they're big 10 in front. I'm still going to take this 10 and multiply it times the 7. So we'll take 10 times 7, and that's going to give me 70. Again, the first term times the last term. So I'm going to take 1 times 70, 2 times 35, I know that one. I know 3 doesn't go into it, but I think 5 does. 5 goes into it 14 times. And then you got 7 times 10. A lot of people know that one. So with this list here, I'm going to say which one of these pairs give me 19. The one that gives me 19 I'm going to look at has to be this 5 and this 14. 14 plus 5 is 19. That'd be 17, and those too big, I don't even care. So I'm going to put these here. I'm going to put the 5 and 14 in my factors. Again, the biggest one first. I'm going to put my first term in the front. Biggest term, right there. Biggest one is minus. That positive means they're the same. So if that is a positive, that's positive. Well, I'm messing up again. It says same. Put a minus. Again, I'm forgetting that that means the same. They have to be the same. Okay. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide what I can take out. This one has a number they share. It's kind of hard, but it's going to be a 2. That's going to reduce down to 5y minus 7. 2 goes into 14 and 10. This number here, I can divide out this one as well. So like I'm actually reducing both of these this time. But this time I'm going to take out 5, because 5 can go into both of those. And that would leave me with 10 divided by 5 is 2y. And then 5 divided by 5 is 1. Which leaves your answer 5y minus 7 times 2y minus 1. Okay. Understand though, you do not have to divide the same number into both of these. I took out a 2 here because it's the number that goes into 10 and 14. And then you got the 10, 5 goes into both of those, so I can take out the 5. I'm just reducing to get to here, reducing the factor to get into its smallest form. So I'm not using, even though this is GCF-like, this is not the GCF. This is just how I'm getting it to its final answer. This number disappears. You're just reducing, it takes away. Kind of like when you reduce a fraction, it just kind of like gets smaller without really messing it up. The rest of the examples of this are going to be provided on Schoology. If you need any extra help, come to tutoring. But your practice will be the rest of those. So if you need any extra time to do that, like I said, come see me on Tuesday. Remember, our test is on Friday, or on Wednesday.